Hello, and welcome to this episode of Lights Out. I'm your hostess with the mostest ghosties, Sylvia Schultz. Thanks for joining me for another visit around the virtual campfire. I've been very lucky so far in my ghost hunting career to steer clear of stuff that's really evil. I've written books about demons. I've spent hours talking with someone who firmly believed they had 3 demonic spirits attached to them. I'm not naive. I know there's evil out there. But thankfully, I haven't run across much of it. That changed when I visited the Sallie House in Atchison, Kansas. This house has a reputation for being a place of evil masquerading as innocence, and I have to admit, I think it deserves that reputation. It's been featured on many ghost hunting shows, and one of the previous tenants of the house, Deborah Pickman, wrote a book about her family's experiences there. I went to the Sallie House expecting just another investigation. I learned a very painful lesson on my visit there. Join me for a peek inside this house that isn't what it seems when we go lights out. The Sallie House is a perfectly ordinary-looking house on a fairly busy street in a mid-sized town in Kansas, just across the border from Missouri. From the outside, the weirdest thing about this little white house is that you have to go down a step to get to the front porch. The entity that inhabits the house is supposed to be a little girl, about 6 years old or so, named Sallie, hence the name, the Sallie House. The house was built between 1867 and 1871 by the Finney family. There have been 3 historically recorded deaths in the house. Michael Finney, the man who built the house, passed away there at age 51 in 1872, just a year after the house was built. Another death in 1918 was that of William True, the husband of Agnes Finney True, Michael's only daughter. Agnes herself lived in the house for the rest of her life, dying there in 1939 at age 79. The lore of the house is that it once belonged to a Charles Finney, a physician. Early in the 20th century, it is said, a frantic mother brought her sick little girl to the house, seeking the doctor's help. The doctor diagnosed appendicitis and decided to operate immediately. There was no time for anesthesia to take effect before the doctor began cutting. The little girl died on the operating table. Some say it was in the kitchen, and her last thoughts were of blood and unbelievable pain as the doctor sliced her open. The problem with this story is that there is absolutely no historical record of it. None. And there is no record of a little girl named Sallie living or dying in the house. The mystery of the haunting deepened in 1993 when the Pickman family rented the house. Deborah Pickman and her husband Tony welcomed their newborn son, Taylor, soon after renting the house. Quickly they realized they were not alone. The haunting began innocuously enough, with teddy bears being moved around. Then things escalated. Tony was scratched, and the entity developed a fascination with starting fires. No lasting damage was done, but the experience was harrowing enough that the Pickmans eventually moved out, leaving the Sallie House with the title, "One of the Most Haunted Houses in America." For more information, I invite you to read Deborah Pickman's book, The Sallie House Haunting. Years of paranormal research in the house have led many investigators to realize that whatever is in the Sallie House, it is not the innocent spirit of a 6-year-old girl. It is something malevolent, and its reach extends far beyond the walls of the house. I went to the Sallie House in late May 2019. As with the Villisca trip, I plan to visit several haunted places on my way to and from the main event. My first stop was in Springfield, Illinois. My visit happily coincided with the meeting of the Prairieland Paranormal Consortium. I couldn't pass up the chance to visit with my friend Carl Jones, who facilitates these meetings. I told Carl I couldn't stay long, as I was headed to the Sallie House. His eyes lit up, and he said, "You should talk with Larry Wilson before you go. He's been there several times, knows all about it." I firmly believe in getting all the information I can on a place before I go, so I was delighted to chat with Larry. What he said, though, was not so delightful. "Be careful," he stressed. "I know of people who live several blocks away from the house that are troubled with paranormal activity in their homes. And I've heard of several people who have gone to the house and then they've gotten in bad car accidents on the way home. So please, please be careful." I promised him I would. I had my crystals with me, rose quartz and Apache tears and black tourmaline. And I had a quart jar of my protection tea. I thought I was ready. Again, American Hauntings was hosting the event. I got to the house without incident, carried my equipment in, and started to explore. The weirdness started almost immediately. Other investigators were outside with me as we walked from our cars to the house, carrying bags and boxes of equipment. A car full of young men roared by, and a couple of them hollered out the window, "Hope you find the ghosts!" So the good people of Atchison are well aware of the strangeness in their town. I mentioned in a previous episode that most of the time I felt comfortable in the Villisca house, even though it had been the scene of violent, multiple axe murders. When I walked into the Sallie House, the energy felt sullen. Like whatever was in the house was just watching, waiting to see what we would do. I got another deeply unpleasant surprise when I reached into my bag for my quart jar of tea. I brew my protection tea when I know I'm going to a place that has lots of negative energy. I use water that has sat outside during a full moon, and I brew a very strong tea using protective herbs, comfrey, nettle, sage, cinnamon, all the powerful healing herbs. Then I stir in a generous dollop of honey. As I drink it, I visualize the beautiful, pure white light of a full moon infusing every cell in my body with purity and protection. It tastes very green and herby and pleasant, and the honey makes it even better. That evening at the Sallie House, I dug into my bag and pulled out the glass jar of tea. I unscrewed the mason jar lid, took an appreciative sniff, pictured the full moon, and took a long, healthy swig. I almost gagged on it and had to choke it down. The tea that I had made just that morning had gelled. It was now the consistency of syrup. So if you can imagine trying to drink the stuff, you can appreciate that it wasn't terribly pleasant to drink. I managed to swallow maybe half a pint, about a quarter of the jar. Then I just couldn't face getting any more of it down me. It tasted great. I just couldn't get past that viscous texture. So there went half of my protection for the evening. I didn't believe there was any little girl ghost named Sallie in the house. I didn't even pretend to believe it. I decided to take a very matter-of-fact approach to the investigation. Whatever this entity was, I wasn't going to treat it like a little girl. But I wasn't going to handle it with kid gloves either. I wasn't afraid of it then, and I wasn't going to let it intimidate me. Thunderstorms were rolling through the area, and we hoped that would ramp up the activity in the house. We started our investigation in the basement, but the air conditioner was running so loud that we knew we wouldn't have much luck with EVPs. That was about to change. We moved up to the kitchen, one of the more active spots in the house. Right away, I managed to catch one, maybe two EVPs. They're coming up soon. Let me give you a heads up. I had gotten out my dowsing rods, and I was explaining to the entity what I expected from it. First, I said to one of the other investigators, "Turn that flashlight on if you don't mind." The recorder captured a growled "No." Now, that could have been the other investigator, but it didn't sound like the voice of any of the 3 girls who were with me. Besides, it would have been a very strange thing for an investigator to say in response to my request. Then I matter-of-factly explained to the entity what I wanted it to do: cross the rods for yes, and make them swing apart for no. I said briskly, "Got it? That's the way we're going to do this." A voice on the recorder said "No" right before the rods gave me a firm no by swinging well apart, nearly touching my upper arms.
You're so uncool.
That's what I've waited for 10 years, to get a group
That could bring in, lock in, burn the house down. Don't feel bad, and I'm sure Sylvia feels this way too. Don't feel bad if you don't get anything in the first 20 minutes or whatever.
Right, yeah.
It might take a while.
It's not Disneyland.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, it always kind of worries me when you walk in somewhere and boom, 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 boom. This happens right off the bat, because guess what? Like a couple hours later, it all stops.
Yeah.
And you're done for the night. So
Yeah, that's.
if
I would
it
much
takes a
prefer
while, yeah.
to it for it to ramp up slowly. And the night is very, very young. Okay, what I have here is a couple of dowsing rods. So go ahead and turn the flashlight on if you don't mind. So I hold these very gently. Some people have little holders for them, which is awesome, but I just haven't made any yet. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if there's anyone here with us, would you please cross the rods like this for yes, and then make them swing outwards like that for no. Got it? Okay, so that's the way we're going to do this.
Should I shut that off?
Oh, no, you're
Okay.
fine. That's totally fine.
Okay.
Okay. So, now that we're here and we have another way to communicate, would you like to talk with us? You can cross the rods for yes, push them apart for no. Are you willing to talk with us? Well, I understand that, but the rods are going way apart. Okay, I don't know who I'm speaking with, so I'm not going to say sweetie or anything like that, but to whoever it is that we're speaking with, we are going to be here for the entire evening, and we will continue to ask you to speak with us. So don't be surprised if we come back and ask you again. And you can continue saying no if you wish. That is your prerogative. This is your home. We are just visitors. But we would like to ask you questions, and we would like to have a conversation with you. Will you be willing to talk with us later? The rods seem fairly unsure about that last question. They're swinging towards no, but then they kind of swing back. Okay, now they're going to no. All right. Okay, how about this? Yeah, and you guys can see my fingers and my thumbs. I'm not touching I'm not guiding the rods at all with my thumbs, which would be easy to do. If I keep getting no answers, I'm going to start doubting myself.
No, I'm watching.
Okay.
I'm watching.
Would you like us to leave this room and go to another room in the house? If you cross the rods, we'll leave.
They just don't want to talk.
So somebody's trying. If you really don't want us in this room, you're going to have to cross these rods for me. Give me a yes that you want us to leave, and we'll leave. Okay. Rods are crossing. We will respect your wishes, and we will go to another room for now.
Thank you.
Thank you for speaking with us. We can leave that light on for now. Hi.
Did you guys go down in the basement?
Yep. The air conditioner compressor is going, and it's really loud down there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's not a good environment for EVPs right now. So, anybody else still upstairs? I forget
there's
how
somebody
many.
in the nursery.
Okay.
It's still bright out, I mean, bright enough outside. But
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
pretty bright out.
Okay.
Is this just because of the TV?
I expect so. Yeah.
No, there's that hole in the
Yeah.
basement wall there. Where does that go?
It doesn't go anywhere.
Doesn't
I
go
mean,
anywhere, it just
people,
goes
people
to
will
the-
say it goes to the portal to hell or whatever, but no, it's not. It's just like a
Crawl space.
A crawl space. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. It's just the TV.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Well, it does that when you first turn it on. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, hello there. Did you follow us here from the kitchen? Thank you for coming over and saying hello to us. My name is Sylvia. Can you tell me your name? Did you just say coffin?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, somebody's messing with us. Somebody's telling us what we want to hear is what it is.
Hey, you know, maybe it's Sallie just playing a good old childish trick.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
You know, she's probably been very lonely. I would be too.
Yeah. We can go ahead and talk about Sallie if you want to, but I'm inclined again to call shenanigans on the whole Sallie thing. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out there just because there's no historical documentation for it. So, I think Sallie is something else entirely. And that's why I'm here tonight, is to find that out. Can you help us with that? If you come closer to me, if you come closer to my right side, we'll know that you're here. That's it. Come closer. We're just 4 girls. We're not going to do anything to hurt you. We're hearing voices from upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just tagging it. You're getting some activity, aren't you?
Oh.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I always find it interesting when meters play with each other and one of them does something and one of them doesn't, the other one doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Kara's meter is going off. And it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the phones, and it doesn't My reap meter is, I'm holding it the same place Kara's is, and it's not doing a darn thing.
You know,
So.
I don't know. This is just me.
Yeah.
And I'm about as sensitive as a rock.
Me too.
But for some reason, I think from the time that she got here, she's gonna get activity.
Who, Kara?
I think she's gonna get.
When I walked in here, it wasn't like extremely cold, but there was a
Yeah,
difference.
I think it's cool.
Like
Really?
I had walked into this room and I got chills.
Ooh.
Compared to like when I had first walked in, it was relatively warm, and as you can see, I
Okay.
changed because I got.
Yeah, Kara is right now is wearing top and jeans and a heavy, a lovely white knit sweater, 3/4 length sweater right now. So yeah, she's a little chilled right now.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Whereas I think it's really hot in here.
I still think it's hot. I'm feeling a cool breeze, which is nice. Oh hey.
That's gotta go on.
It turned off.
Yeah, so we know it does shut off after a
Oh,
while.
yeah.
Excellent.
Did he turn it off?
Be careful if you go to Dairy Queen because I ordered a pork tenderloin and it said plain not used. Receipt.
Oh my God, I gotta get a picture of that. That's
Yeah,
freaking
I'm thinking, what the hell?
not
That's
used.
hilarious.
I have got to get a picture of that because that is just.
Somebody
Yeah.
brought that back.
Only in
Because I thought
flippin'
it was a fish
Kansas.
sandwich, so they brought it back.
Yeah,
Well, I hope it's not used.
that's what I'm hoping for.
After a conversation with the entity in the kitchen, we decided to visit the nursery, another hot spot. This is where Sallie seemed to spend a lot of time when the Pickmans lived there. Sallie seemed to be fascinated with the Pickmans' newborn son, Taylor. Again, I caught an EVP, and again it was something telling me no. I asked, "Did you used to stand in this nursery and watch the little boy?" A voice, unheard by me at the time, whispered "no" right before the rods gave me a no answer.
Why?
Oh, what a lovely little playroom this is.
Very nice little dog.
All sorts of toys. And this white teddy bear here. I have a white teddy bear at home that looks just like this. Is this your favorite teddy bear?
True.
So which toy is your favorite?
I'm sorry if that ruins anyone's vision.
I'm okay. Thanks. There's a really pretty pink ball on the floor. Do you want to push it around?
Hell. Tell. That's it. Oh, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. Why don't you come over and play with this pink ball on the floor? That's it. Give it a good shove.
20.
Do you want us to put a different color ball down?
Me.
We're getting just a little bit of meter activity next to that pink ball that's on the floor, which I probably ought to take a picture of. Okay, you tell me which one you like better.
You like the pink one? Do you like the big orange one? Got a little blip on the meter when I moved it to the orange one. Do you like the pink one better? I like the pink one. I'm going to put this meter over by the pink one, and you come over and stand by it. You tell me which one you like better. You tell me if you like the pink one.
Legion. Liquid.
Some of the stuff it's saying is funny.
Did it just say Legion?
Yeah.
Hmm.
What's that mean?
Legion was the name of the demons that Jesus cast out into the herd of swine.
Oh, okay.
And that was a car passing by. That was not a demonic growl, thank you very much. That was a motorcycle or something going by. When you're casting out demons, the important thing to do is get their names.
Uh-huh.
And that's what Jesus said. What is your name? He made them tell him their name, and they said, our name is Legion. And he, knowing with that knowledge, he cast them into the herd of pigs, and the pigs, rather than be possessed by a demon, ran off a cliff and drowned themselves in the lake or whatever it was that was there.
Maybe
That's
that's why
from
they said
Matthew or
bacon.
Luke or something. So yeah, for that to say Legion is a trifle disturbing. So when this was a nursery, when there was a little boy in here, did you come and watch the little boy as he slept? Because that's really creepy behavior. That is not cool. Tell me why you did that. Shall we use the dowsing rods again?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just in case we're talking to somebody else right now, I'll refresh your memory. I'll explain these to you. These are rods, and you can answer yes or no questions using them. I'd like you to cross them for yes and put them apart for no. Well, okay then.
What did it do? I wasn't watching.
It went way to no. It could have been. All right, let's get these situated here, okay?
Do you mind if I get you on video?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, I just want to ask before.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Okay, so now that we understand each other, let's go ahead and ask some questions. Or are you not wanting to answer questions right now? Are you giving me that strong of a no? Okay. Okay, back to neutral. And I'm holding them the short ends very loosely, but I can feel something trying to move the rods, which is kind of a weird feeling. And anyone else can use these. These are not like tuned to me or anything, so if anyone else wants to do this, that's totally fine. I'm going to ignore that. Okay. So if there's anyone in here with us, are you willing to talk to us by crossing the rods? Cross them for yes. Put them apart for no. Are you willing to talk to us?
Did you used to stand in this nursery and watch the little boy?
Come.
That's a no. Okay.
Did you arrange the toys and play with the toys on the floor?
The odds are kind of staying neutral on that question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like having a little child in the house? Again, the odds are pretty much neutral on that. Does anyone else want to use these? I'm not getting tired or anything, but I don't want to tire myself out and
No, I mean,
affect the rods.
I can
Object.
do it.
Okay, if you like.
Is there any way that I hold them?
Just loosely in your hands. Try not to have your thumbs on them. There you go. And hold them straight out. Perfect. Have your hands a little, like 6 inches apart or so. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, just hold them nice and steady. And just let them go where they will. Okay, Kara's got the rods in a neutral position right now, so we'll see if you can answer questions for her, if she's holding them. Were you happy having a little child in the house? The rod's crossing a yes. Okay, Kara's brought them back to neutral.
Do I remind you of that child in some way?
The rods are crossing in a yes again. That's interesting.
He likes talking to you.
Are you the same thing from the kitchen? Or are you something different?
Has to be yes or no
Yes or no,
question.
My bad.
Are you the same entity that we were talking to in the kitchen? The rod's crossing a definite yes again. That's interesting. All right, let's see what a no looks like for you. Are you going to follow us down into the basement when we go? Another yes. All right, let's think of a no question. Do you want us to leave this room? Rods are crossing in a yes again. All right, back to neutral.
How about, can you open them up so we know you can to say no?
Yeah, show us what no looks like. Open up as wide as you can. I know it's hard, but we need to know that it's you doing it. Push those rods apart, please. Good job. Keep going. Atta-way.
Perfect.
Good done. Good. Very good job. Well done. Do you like it when people come and visit you? Yes. Okay, that's a strong yes. Do you enjoy scaring people? And that's another yes.
Are you sad to know that I'm not scared?
Rods are staying neutral. Yeah, none of us are scared by you. Does that disappoint you? Another yes.
Other people had better luck in the basement.
The laser grid turned off and on 7 times, which we weren't sure how old she
Look at
was.
7 times, yeah.
But
Mmm.
Yep, exactly 7 times.
Nice.
And then we asked the spirit box why there was a black spot on the floor, and it said fire, and then it said
Really?
burning.
And then it said burning. And then
Oh, wow.
she was gonna go
Oh, I
put the
said-
voice recorder
'cause we
over
had
next
this
to the
across
spirit box.
room. And I said, my recorder might not be picking this up. Should I put my recorder over there? And it said, walk over here.
Or walk over.
Or walk over.
Walk over.
And then what else?
Gosh,
Oh,
there was-
and then the ball was.
The ball moved.
And then we asked for it to do it again.
In the nursery?
No, down there.
Oh,
There's
down
a
there.
rubber ball
Really?
down there.
Really?
Right
Well,
on.
We had some good
I
stuff.
don't know if you guys have heard it, but the weather's kicking up.
Yeah,
About
it is.
midnight or so, it's gonna really be rolling.
We might be in the basement without a choice.
We took a break from sitting in the dark, and one of the investigators brought out a great tool called the Boo Buddy. This is a teddy bear with a speech function and lights in its paws that work the same way an EMF meter does, lighting up in the presence of anomalous energy. The bear will say things like, "Count with me, 1, 2, 3, 4, and "I like hugs," in an attempt to entice a spirit into interaction. It's non-threatening and a fabulous way to try and communicate with a child spirit. Since the entity Sallie seemed to love teddy bears, it was natural to use the bear. I'd always wanted to see a Boo Buddy in the field, and it didn't disappoint.
It senses temperature changes and movement, and then it asks EVP questions like every 15 seconds. So every 15 seconds it's going to ask a different question.
Cool.
So basically it takes the work out of us. And then you just put a recorder next to it.
I'm recording it too.
Okay. That's just my squeaky chair.
Hi, I'm Boo Buddy. What's your name?
Oh, that's freaking adorable.
Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you know your alphabet? A, B, C, D.
That's kind of creepy.
Can you make a noise for me? Did you say something? Could you please say it again? Aw, thanks. I like holding hands with you.
Does that mean something touched it?
Or is that just a
repeat
random?
that, yeah.
random thing to say.
Mm-hmm. Now, I did test it when I first got it. I had it on for a while, and then I turned the heat up really high, and I sat it by it, and instantly it said that you make it warm in here. Like right away it said that.
That tickles.
That means something touched it.
Okay, that was creepy.
I know, right?
No, I just looked the thing up. It means that something touched it.
Awesome.
Sallie, are you playing with the bear?
It's okay if you are. You can play with it.
That's why we brought it. Moving on the couch.
I like hugs.
That's another one that means that something's touched it.
Awesome.
That bear's for you to play with tonight, so just play with it.
Phew, it got warm in here.
I think I'd believe it more if it said something about being cold.
And I was thinking the same thing.
It's kind of strange too.
Did you say something? Could you please say it again?
At least you know the lights work.
Do you have a favorite song?
Huh? I think somebody is at the door outside. Oh, okay.
Do you know what time it is? That tickles.
See, it usually doesn't repeat that stuff too much.
How old are you? I like good stories. Please tell me one. What's your favorite toy?
Another K2 hit. Briefly up into the red. Voices from other parts of the house.
Yeah.
Any luck?
A couple of things. We had, we asked,
Yeah, I just put it on
Can
the
I
floor.
grab
That's
the picture?
absolutely, yeah.
we asked how many people died in the house, and it very clearly said 3.
Boo-bay's ticklish.
And then Heather
Nice.
said, did it say 3? And it went 3
And
again.
then it repeated itself.
Lovely.
And then, we asked are you aware of a Mike associated with this house? Because that name has
We've
come
had
through
it twice. When
What
our
name?
first time
Mike.
in the basement, and now this time. We asked who was here, and it said Mike.
Cool.
So 2 times.
We got a couple of hits on the K2 meter in response to questions. In response to things the bear said.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's pretty good. So the spirit box acted different than it was when we were down there.
Did you say something?
Yes,
Could
I
you
did.
please say it again?
No. But then towards the end it went back to
Then it was all gerbil again.
garbled and not.
Our time at the Sallie House drew to an end. The next day the storms had passed, and I spent a wonderful Sunday in St. Joseph, Missouri, visiting several other places and collecting even more stories, which I'll share with you in upcoming episodes. It was getting dark by the time I headed home. And around 10 o'clock that night, on a 2-lane highway, a deer ran right into my car. I wasn't hurt, but the buck did about $4,000 worth of damage. Larry Wilson's warning rang in my mind. I've heard of people getting in car accidents after visiting the Sallie House. Was it just an unfortunate coincidence? Or did the Sallie House claim another victim? But before that happened, I spent a truly enjoyable day in St. Joseph, a day that began with donuts and chocolate milk in a cemetery. Join me for breakfast the next time we go lights out.
Aun jolo hi ye he ban ta.